Welcome to Papa's Workshop. You know, Christmas is just around the corner and it'll be here before you know it. And it's time to start making those Christmas decorations and those Christmas gifts for that special someone on your Christmas list. Now, I'm going to make this today. This is a wall art joy for the holiday season that I'm going to put out by my front door. And today, I'm going to show you how I made it. It's real easy. So let's get started. Before we start today's video, I've got a real big favor. Recently, YouTube has changed their algorithms. What does that mean? That means that my videos are not being recommended as often as they used to. How do we change that? I need your help in a most urgent way to be able to like this video, share it with as many people as you can, and subscribe. By making these 3 simple changes, it really will trigger those algorithms to be able to get the recommendations back out to everyone in the woodworking community and the CNC world. So if you like the videos that I'm producing, you like my teaching methods, please subscribe, like, and share. Now, let's get back to today's video. I want to begin this project by creating a new file in the VCarve desktop. And to do that, I will click right here on this selection. This is going to be a single-sided project. Now I'm using a scrap piece of MDF, and the size of this on the x-axis is going to be 20 inches, and the height of this is 24 inches. And this is going to be 0.5 of an inch thick. We are going to stay in inches. Now, one thing I want to point out, there is a section right up here that's basically 12 by 12 that I cannot use. So I have to be able to keep that in mind. But as far as the Z0 position, we're going to use that as the material surface. And we will leave the XY datum position down in the bottom left-hand corner. That is going to be fine. And we don't need any of the rest of this section, so we'll just click OK. Now, to make this project, I want to be able to have the letters basically 3D. So in this particular case, I want to use a block type of letter, and I want to be able to cut out just a letter, and I'm going to paint them ahead of time, and then I'm going to glue them and nail them to the board. Now, this is the simplest and easiest way to be able to do that. So to be able to start, I'm going to come over to this icon right here and select on the text. And from here, you can select all different ones, but I like a nice bold text. So I'm going to type in the word joy, and I want this in all capital letters. I'll go ahead and close that. And this is the word that we're going to work with. Now, to begin with, I want to be able to have this all in the same line. And you can see the J is actually longer. I really don't want that for this project. But when I select this, it selects the entire word. And I really can't do anything with it in this configuration. I can move it, but that's about it. So what I have to be able to do is come over to this icon right here, and I can convert the text over to curves. And first thing, we got to select everything. There we go. Now let's try that again. Now I've got individual letters. If I select just a J, I have just that. So the first thing that I want to be able to do is go ahead and highlight this, and we're going to shorten that. We're going to bring that up to right there. And now that will be real close to being in line. Bring it up a little bit more. And if we want to have it exact, we'll grab a guideline and bring it down to right there. And that actually is close enough. So I'm just going to right-click that and delete it. I don't need that guideline. But that shows you how to be able to use the guidelines. To be able to carve these, I can just select and move these up into any different position. There we go. And I can put that right up into this spot. Now with this letter, is actually in two components now. So what I have to be able to do is select one and then hold down the Shift key and I can select the other one. And now I can actually move this over and I'll just put that right there. That will be good. And I'll go ahead and select this last one and we'll put that right down into here. But just to give you an idea, how big is this letter? Because I didn't talk about that. If I go back to the text menu, you can actually see that this is 5.5 inches tall. Now remember, there's a whole big section here that I can't use. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and get it set up so that I can cut these 3 letters out. Now I'm using the cedar fence slat to be able to make this sign, and that's 6 inches wide. So if I want to be able to verify how wide this letter is, because that is my widest letter, I can actually take the tape measure and I can click on this point right there and measure over to this point, and that is actually 6.0227 inches. That's actually a little bit wider than the board is. So I need to change that. So I'm going to go ahead and close this. And I want to get it where I can zoom in a little bit here. And I can highlight this now because it actually curves. And I can bring this and make it smaller. I'm going to bring this side in a little bit also. I'm going to highlight both of these, and if I go from left to right, it doesn't do anything, because you notice I didn't encompass the whole entire object. But if I come this direction, I don't need to. As long as I cross the lines, it will capture it. The next thing I want to do is select this again, bring it over, and select that, and now it's 5 inches wide, so that works out real well. So we'll close that, and just to be on the safe side, let's check out this, there to there, and that's 5.5 inches, so that works. And I know that the J is certainly within the parameters that I need. Now, one of the things I'd like to be able to do is give a little bit more space. That way, when the bit is cutting, it'll have a little bit more clearance. So that will work. So now all I need to do is be able to set up the tool paths to be able to cut this out. So I'm going to come right up to this little icon right there. I'm going to select that, and that brings me over to the tool paths. What I want to be able to do is use a profile bit and cut that out. And I'm going to have a start depth at 0. And I want to be able to cut this down 0.51 of an inch, which is just slightly deeper than the thickness of my wood. And the tool that I'm going to be using is a 1/8 inch, which is 0.125. That will be good. But if you want to select that, we can select it over here. Take a look at the different end mills that we have, and that will work just fine. So we'll close that. And that will be okay. There's really nothing else that we need to be able to do. And I want to be able to have this now renamed. We're going to call this Joy, and we're going to call this a cutout on a 0.125. So that will be done. We'll calculate this, and I need to be able to select all of these vectors. There we go. So that's now done. I'm gonna go ahead and calculate it. Tool will cut through the material. That is what we want. And there we have it. So it's gonna start right down here in the bottom left corner and be able to go right up and cut those. If we wanna preview that, we can select preview, and that goes very, very quickly. Let's slow that down a little bit. Let's reset the preview, and we'll do the preview again. And now you can see exactly how it's going to cut it. So it's not going to be too repetitious. Let's go ahead and speed this up so we can get it done. And there we have it. So now I'm going to go ahead and close this window out. I need to be able to save the toolpath. So the next thing that I want to do, now that we know that this is going to cut, is select this toolpath right there. It's the only toolpath that we have, and we're going to save that. And you'll see that right here. That is Joy Cutout 0.125. We're going to be using the VCarve in inches, and that is going to be a G code, and we will save it. And now we'll go ahead and close this out, and that's done. Now we need to take this information now over to the CNC machine, set it up, and go ahead and cut my letters out. I want to do one thing. I want to double click and go back into this. One of the things that I would like to do on this project is add tabs. So I'm going to select that right there, and that will add the tabs into it. And that gives me the length of that tab at 1/4 of an inch, and the thickness is at 0.1 of an inch. So I want to be able to edit these tabs. So I'm going to go ahead and select my edit. I want to be able to put a tab right here. I can put another tab right there. We'll put a tab here, one here, and there. We'll do the same thing here, and we have a tab there. And that will take care of the tabs. The green dot is where the bit will enter and be able to make the cut. So now I have all of the tabs showing. I'm going to go ahead and close that out now. And then I'm going to scroll down, and I will go ahead and calculate this now. Yes, it's going to carve all the way through. And I want to be able to reset this, and we will be able to preview. And now you can actually see the tabs in position. There's one here, there's one, and here's the other one, and so on. And you can see the tab right there and the tab there. Likewise, up top on the letter J, you can see the tab here and there. So now we're going to go ahead and close this. Now I want to resave this toolpath. This is now selected. Select Save Toolpath. There is my file right there. I'm going to select Save, and it's going to say, do you want to replace it? And I'm going to say yes. So now my updated toolpath is saved, and I can close this out. Now let's go over to the machine. We'll get this set up and be able to carve it. I have my material secured down now, and today what I'm doing is using screws to be able to hold down this material. And if you'll see back in this area, this was that unused portion, because this piece of 1/2 inch MDF at one point was used as a wasteboard. So with this now secured, and with my 1/8 inch bit in position, I want to go ahead and get this machine started, and we're going to carve out these letters. Off camera, I went ahead and Z'd out the machine and got it ready to be able to carve. And using the universal G-code sender, I went ahead and opened up the file, and I'm actually ready to carve now. So all I need to do is turn on the machine and we'll hit send. As this is carving, you can actually see how it's tracking through the material, and then you can see where the little tab is. It comes up and over and then back down. This took a very short period of time to be able to carve, and it did an outstanding job. This CNC for newbie, VCarve, is a rock solid machine, and I absolutely love it. So 7-minute carve time, not bad for getting those 3 letters done. Something I want to point out to you is I use a number of different methods. On many of my videos, you see that I use the glue and tape method, but I'm trying to show a variety of different hold down methods. Just a little bit of cleanup, and then I'll be ready to be able to cut the tabs and release the letters. On the back side, you can see how it cut all the way through the material, and you can see exactly where the tabs are located. Now I'm just going to take a utility knife and be able to cut those little tabs, and that will be it. It takes very little cleanup and hardly any sanding to be able to get these letters ready to paint. These letters look fantastic. I'm looking at them and there's really no sanding needed. Now I'm taking my cedar fence slat and just putting the letters on here just to kind of get a quick layout. If you have a project you'd like for me to be able to carve, just leave me a comment down below. Now that's a rough layout of what it's going to look like when we get it all finished. I think that's going to turn out really, really nice. Okay, now it's time to go ahead and get everything painted, because doing the design this way, you can actually pre-paint everything and then just assemble it and it's done. First color I'm going to use is just a little bit of green, and I'm going to paint these. And it doesn't take a whole lot. The nice thing about these projects, they go really fast. All we need to do now is just let this dry, and we'll be ready to assemble it, and we'll have a finished project. To be able to put these letters on, I'm just going to use a little small pen nailer, and I'm going to be using the Titebond 3 glue for this project, because although it's really not designed to be outside, you certainly could put it outside temporarily. But I'm just putting a little bit of glue on it, and I'm not even really worrying too much about really close on the alignment. That is close enough. Then I'll shoot a couple of pins in here to be able to hold it, and that's really all I need to do. And I'm going to do the same thing on the top side, and on these letters I'm just going to pretty much eyeball it a little bit along that edge. And I'm just going to set that right about there. I think that looks good. That will hold that in place just right. Now for this one. The fun thing about these projects, you don't really have to measure them because they're supposed to look a little bit rustic. Now I could have sanded this and kind of aged it, but I ended up deciding not to do that. I think that looks good. And we have about 3 fingers there. We'll put about 3 fingers there. Drop that in place. That looks real good. I like that. The only one I'm going to measure is this one. Gonna make that 3 inches down from the top. And there we go. This is finished. Hi everyone, thank you for watching my video today. If you like the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below and the little bell next to it so you'll be notified on the different videos that I upload. Also check out the videos over here to be able to stay up to date on the happenings in my shop. So again, thank you for watching my videos.